Yes, everybody. Fancy seeing you here. Welcome. It's Monday. Almost forgot what day of the week was there. It's Monday. It's 6 o'clock. So it's time for the Academy Show. For anyone new to the channel, thank you for joining us firstly. But secondly, it's what is the Academy? The Academy Show is a show dedicated, as it says, to the academies, the under 18s, the under 21s, taking some time just to talk about them. Very important. And even more important now when it comes to West Ham, having seen obviously on the bench for the defeat against Crystal Palace, 3 academy players, 2 coming on and 1 making his first team debut, Lewis Orford. You'll be seeing a lot more of that, I think, coming through. There's a definite wave of optimism in terms of within the academy. I saw that on Friday. People seem a lot more chippier than they were 10 days ago, for example. And that's what we do. So what we do is we talk about any contract news that's directly affecting the academy. Then we talk about the players out on loan, the academy players out on loan, how they performed this weekend. Obviously, the first team guys like JWP, again, we covered in Hammer's headlines. And then we do a bit of a review of the 18s and 21s games at the weekends. And that's it. Simples, as Alexandra would say. So let's start with contract news. Now, it's one we spoke about earlier in the week, but I thought I'd just bring it to people's front of center again. According to XWHU employee Ryan Batcham, is due to sign another 2-year extension or 2-year deal. He's still got 6 months left of his contract, and after that 6 months, then another 2-year deal is being activated. He captained the under 21s on Friday. A player who can play several positions. He is sort of a right back by trade, but he can play right. Slightly right wing, right forward, can play centrally as well. Very useful squad player for the under 21s. I just think that Brian needs to now get his spot. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's great being diverse and great having the ability to play in several different. But the trouble is, you fall in the cracks a little bit, and you become Ben Johnson type player. Whereas he could play everywhere. If he's going to be, concentrate on being a centre midfield, concentrate on being right back or whatever, and stick to his guns with that, because otherwise you get a situation where you get sort of you fall in the cracks a little bit. He's a good player, and I think if you put him, he's got a good engine on him as well. So if you put him in the right position, he could flourish. But congratulations to Ryan on that. Right, let's go and talk about loan players. George Murphy was an unused matchday sub in the away defeat for Bristol City. They lost 1-0 away to Coventry. Not really working out for George, in all honesty. He got injured, then made a few appearances, and now the results aren't really coming for Bristol City so much. So it does seem that when that happens, they almost revert back to experienced players rather than playing youthful players, which sometimes I think is a bit of a mistake, because Potter made a really good point in his post-match press conference, or post-match interview rather, with Rob Pritchard. But he was saying, bringing on the likes of Ollie, you're losing, but you bring in the likes of Ollie, Lewis. They've got no fear, and they can galvanise. They can do something, and it rubs up on the more experienced players. And I think that's true with George. He's a very talented player. Now, we're led to be believed that all the academy players do have recall clauses in their loan spells. However, I believe that is going to be that number, that date they can recall has already surpassed. I think I think it's the 15th of July or January, but don't quote me on that. But they all do, whereas the first team ones don't, unless it's specifically in there as a break clause. That's what we've been led to believe. Callum Marshall, he was a 58th minute substitute as Huddersfield drew 2-2 away at Blackpool. Oh, it'd be cold over there, wouldn't it? Patrick Kelly was an unused, well, wasn't even in the squad for the a 1-0 away win for Grant McCann's side at Gillingham. Gideon Kadoa was a 69th minute substitute for Wickham as they beat Mansfield Town 2-1 away. And Mason Terry played the full 90 minutes for AFC Hornchurch as they lost 1-0 to Chelmsford City away in the National League South. Obviously, we've recalled a number of players back from their loan spells, the likes of Michael Forbes, Levi Lang, and Christian Hegier, who we've recalled from his loan spell at Motherwell and have now sent him back out on loan to Tbilisi in the Hungarian league. I believe there's a friendly today. They're playing Stuga, and he could well feature in that game. But we'll add him to the list again of players out on loan. Let's talk about games last week. Mixed bag. Let's start with the 18s. Obviously, the weekend before was the really cold weekend, and the 18s and 21s games were postponed. I think 21s were going to play Liverpool, and the 18s were going to be playing Crystal Palace at Little Heath. That game got moved to the Tuesday, and unfortunately, the 18s fell to a heavy defeat. They 5-0 they lost to Crystal Palace in the Premier League South on Tuesday. Despite the heavy defeat, the Young Hammers showed some flashes of promise, particularly in the first half. They haven't played for a month, but neither Crystal Palace, to be honest, is not really an excuse. But it was a quite young, inexperienced 18 side, really, with a number of the more experienced under 18s players moving up to the 21s to cover Casey Orford and Scars moving into the first team. So there's that sort of conveyor belt. And we're going to talk about the 18s moved up because they all really acquitted themselves very well on Friday night. Next up for the 18s, they travel to Arsenal. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is at Arsenal. Yeah, in the Premier League South on Saturday 25th, 11 a.m. GMT. Let's talk about 21s. 21's another victory, 4 in a row now for them. Considering they went through a spell of about 7 defeats in a row, they've really turned it around and they've opened their return to Premier League 2 action. Their first game since November, obviously, because they've had a few games postponed and then one was cancelled or postponed again due to the sad passing of Oscar when the whole academy sort of shut down for that weekend. A hard-fought 1-0 victory at home to Sunderland at Rush Green. Few more people there today on Sunday Friday, which is nice. We could do with a lot more. It was a really good game, actually. I mean, the goal came, Josh Ajala scored in the 59th minute. Third goal in as many games. People will say, let's put him in the first team. He's physically not ready for the first team at all. He got bullied by the Sunderland. He's a very clinical striker, very clinical, but he needs to bulk up because he'll get bullied. He'll get eaten alive by some of them centre halves. But it was a very youthful side. As I said, it featured 5 under-18 scholars in the starting lineup. And they defended very, very solidly throughout. Sunderland boasted their striker they bought from the first team from Genk, Ahmed Abdullahi. It was his first game. He'd been out injured, and he played the first half, and he was a brute, absolute monster. But actually, Luizao did a really good job on him, to be fair. Unfortunately, Luizao got injured and had to go off at half time. That maybe could curtail a potential move out back to Brazil or Portugal. But we'll wait and see what happens. Atletico Mineiro apparently were interested in Luizao. They've been interested for ages, to be honest. Sean Tarrama came in, but luckily for us, Ahmed left as well at half time because he was knackered. Exchanges. Obviously, West Ham had to do a little bit more defensive work, but couldn't really get through our defence. And obviously, Josh scored in the 89th minute. A couple of good saves from Finn at the end when there's a little sort of flurry of activity from Sunderland, but it was a pretty comfortable 1-0 win, to be perfectly fair. There were some really strong performances from the younger members of the team. As I said, 5 under-18 scholars were in the side. And my pick of the bunch or out of the whole game, Edris Golombekis, centre half, full 90, started on the right hand side of the back three. Second half, moved into the centre, and was brilliant. Brilliant. Didn't get beaten. He's not like a brute of a centre half, but he reads the game really well. He's so comfortable on the ball. And as I said, he's going to be the ideal. If Potter's still here in 2-3 years' time, he'll be banging on that door. He's brilliant. He's really good in the ball, and he's good decision maker. He knows when to reads the game very well, tracks players really well. He's an England under 18 now player. He was playing through Lithuania under 16s, but moved to switch allegiance to England, and I think we'll see a lot more of him, definitely, and a lot more in the 21s now with Kalen going up into the first team. That might drop back down, but he's a really good. But actually, Louise Al could go. I thought Ezra May has had a good game as well. I thought Preston Fearon in the middle. Again, another under 18 scholar, but my God, he's good on the ball. Again, he's very wiry. Could do with a good meal, but oh my God, some of his weight of passing was brilliant. Was brilliant. So they're my two. The next, not next year, maybe not even the year after that, but next couple of years, you're going to see they'll be playing a lot more 21s. They might go out on loan next year after. They're the next two. They're the next two. Now, next up for the under 21s is on Tuesday. They play against Dagenham and Redbridge in the inaugural National League Cup knockout stage. They're in the group. So if they win, they can go through to the knockout stages of the National League Cup. Also at the game on Tuesday will be the Premier League trophy. And there are not going to be a lot of people there. So if you want to get your hands on your trophy, but it's the closest we're going to get to a Premier League trophy as West Ham fans. So that's going to be at the Chigwell Construction Centre. So get your arse down there on Tuesday and cheer the boys on. It won't cost a lot at all. And it'll be a really good game. Really good game, I think. Playing a very strong Dagenham Redbridge side, all physically strong as well. So be a good test for them. And that's it, my friends. Thank you very, very much for your time, as per usual. If you like what we do, don't forget to like, comment, share. Give us a little comment. If you watch, obviously, you can watch. Hopefully, you've been watching all the games on YouTube. I mean, they're putting all the under 21s on YouTube now, so you can see the next batch. And I think there's probably even more ahead of Airdris and ahead of Preston. I think Julia Robinson's got a real good chance of coming through. I thought he had a good game on Friday rather. As I said, I think Ezra Mayes is a good centre half as well. Josh eventually, I think, could be a very good striker. Cutley. Yeah, I mean, you got to think if they utilise the loan market properly and get him out and getting, look back at Defoe when he went on loan to Bournemouth. He was not particularly bulky, but he was strong, and that's what for me. I'm not saying Josh needs to look like Antonio, but he's just not strong enough at the moment for my liking. He gets pushed around quite a bit, which you don't really want from your centre forward, to be honest. Finn Herrick, I think next year you're looking at. We've still got Christian, we've still got Wes. Potentially, we could be offering Lucas another deal. Obviously, we've got Areola, but Finn Herrick, I think, is a very good in the ball as well. He's a sweeper keeper. And then you've got the guys out on loan. You've got George Earthy, you've got Callum, you've got Patrick Kelly, you've got Gideon. There's plenty there, but I think. For me, the next ones, I really think you can see Julia Robinson making a step up eventually. And then after that, the next round will be Airdris and Preston, I reckon. But that's more to come. Anyway, take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith. Give it a like. Give it a comment. Give it a share. And I'll see you guys soon. Much love. Bye-bye.